preparing to live streaming. Okay.
Yep, we're live now. Good.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sarah Shearer, and I'm the president of the Albany Public Library Board of Trustees, and I call this meeting our January board meeting to order. Rebecca, do you mind bringing up the roll call screen? I just remembered that was a discussion we had a couple weeks ago. Just for the viewers at home, if everyone wouldn't mind, we're just going to introduce ourselves, either as a trustee, if you hold an office, staff. So your name and position, and everyone will be in order on this list that was created.
It's if you're logged into Board Docs on 1.2, it says roll call. You just click on content and everything is listed. I could put it in the chat.
Yeah, if you could put that in the chat, please. Yeah, so again, my name is Sarah Shearer, and I'm the board president.
Hi, my name is Dr. Brenda Robinson. I am vice chair of the board, vice pres, I should say.
And my name is Tom McCarthy. I am Vice President for Finance as a trustee.
Our secretary, Jenna Patera, is excused tonight.
Might be easier if we just call them out because I know people have.
Nope, Arlene's on.
Okay, I'm Arlene Way, and I'm a trustee.
Sarah Dallas, trustee.
Oh, you're muted, Brigitte.
Brigitte Pryor, trustee.
Are you on, Jare?
Jare Goulas, trustee.
And Donna Dixon, trustee.
John Smith, board treasurer.
Melanie Metzger, interim director.
Adam Stump, budget manager.
Rebecca Delgazo, board clerk.
Robert Schofield, counsel of the board.
Thank you, everyone. And that just gives everyone watching an idea of who exactly is on this, since we can't see everybody's screen at the same time. So thank you, Melanie, for suggesting this. Our first order of business is, do we have any public comment?
We have not received any public comments. If anyone from the public wishes to make a comment, they are asked to send an email with your name and address to publiccomment@albanypubliclibrary.org. That's all one word, publiccomment@albanypubliclibrary.org. Or you can also leave a voicemail at 518-290-6905. Both accounts are constantly monitored. And there will be one more opportunity at the end of the meeting for public comments as well.
Perfect, thank you. Our next item of business is the consent agenda. I am not seeing an attachment for minutes or the capital fund check register.
There is no capital fund check register. I can clarify that much.
And looking at the thing, it's not an attachment, but if you click on where it says minutes, you'll see a little, they must have changed their format. There's a little link now that says view minutes
Yeah.
for the December 14th.
It's been a link now for like 8 months or so, where it's not an attachment. It just pulls up based off the last, whatever I connect it to. But it's just, it is there. It says minutes, view minutes, and it's a link.
Gotcha. Great. Would somebody like to make a motion for the consent agenda? Donna?
I move to accept the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
A second.
Tom, thank you. Any further discussion on the motion to accept the consent agenda? Just scrolling so I can see everybody. I don't see any hands. So we can go to board docs to vote.
Arlene, please state your vote.
Yes.
Thank you.
And motion carries. Moving on, we have the finance memo, treasurer's report, capital fund report, and cash and investment summary. Adam and Sean, if you want to go over that for us.
The reports this month cover November 2021, which is 42% of the way through our 21-22 fiscal year. This month's Treasury reports include a column displaying the modified budget that was approved at last month's board meeting. Expenditures as of the end of November are 42% of the overall modified budget, which is about where we would expect them to be this time of year. Revenue as of November 30th is at 41% of the overall modified budget, and there was no significant capital fund activity during November. And then I'll turn it over to Adam for his comments.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Just very quickly, I just wanted to reiterate that the modified budget represents a more accurate portrayal of our current revenue and expenditure expectations, and that a second budget modification may take place towards the end of the fiscal year if our expectations change again. So that's it. If anyone has any questions or comments on any of the reports, we can try and address those now. Thanks.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions concerning the finances for Sean or Adam? Right. Our next item is, thank you, Sean and Adam, committee and liaison reports, trustees reporting out and upcoming events. Do any of the trustees have anything to share about our interactions with the library over the past month since our last board meeting? Oh, Donna?
Yes, I was very honored and excited to be able to accompany Melanie and staff to the listening tour that was held at the Guilderland Public Library back in, oh my gosh, was it back in December already? But it was a great opportunity to tour another library, to see another renovation, to meet with some of our electeds on who are very interested in promoting and preserving library services and funding in the state. And I was really very, very pleased and honored to be able to attend. And it was a wonderful showing. Melanie got to speak a little bit, which was great. And you know, if you get a chance to do something like this, I highly recommend it.
Well, thank you for attending that.
Mhm.
If no one else has anything to report, I know we have a couple of committee reports. The Ad Hoc Executive Director Search Committee met twice, I believe. Brigitte, if you want to give us the highlights of your meetings.
Yes, thank you. That's correct. We met on January the 5th with two candidates. We did interviews with two candidates who were consultants. We also did another interview on January 10th. And then we went into executive session and made our decision. We decided it was a consensus on John Keister. And I know in new business, we'll discuss that further. But a decision was made to make a recommendation to the board to go ahead with John Keister as a consultant to find our next executive director.
Thank you. And the nominating committee also met. Arlene, if you would like to let us know what the nominating committee is up to.
A lot of stuff. This was our first meeting. As you all know, we're going to have some openings. Some people who are their terms are ending. 4 people terms are ending from the board, and then we're also going to have people whose terms are going to be ending who are also serving on the executive committee. So we did a walkthrough of what we need to do. We decided that we need to look to see who's at the table, consider what we need to do in terms of outreach, and work with library staff and our fellow trustees to do the necessary outreach and orientation to potential members or to potential candidates. So the thing is that we're going to be touching base with each of you. While we know that there's some terms ending, people may, want to leave before their term ends, and we just want to know what we're dealing with in terms of vacancies or potential vacancies. For the people for this vacancies that may be occurring on the executive committee, we decided that we'd like to do some training, have an orientation for the entire board, so that people may be encouraged to consider, serving in one of those slots that's on the executive committee. So that's pretty much it by now, but we'll be sending you information in the interim. But we're seeing a lot of work ahead so that we can get this right.
I just want to add, I want to thank you for your work on the nominating committee, Arlene, and your experience. And certainly we do want to get training out to the board. I think that is very important, as well as the outreach and that engagement is very important. So thank you for your work. Thank you for your expertise and your experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Next, we have the director's report.
Well, thank you. just going down my executive summary here with COVID-19. We have adjusted our operations in alignment with how we voted last month at the December board meeting. However, like within a week after us doing so, the COVID positivity rate started increasing exponentially again. And so we had to take that into account into how we were doing things. So what we did is we are staying the course. We are doing everything we said we were going to do. We eliminated the head count. We opened up our study rooms. We increased seating. But we're scaling back on the amount of publicity we do for it. So we were planning a whole social media campaign to say, hey, by the way, we're offering all these new services. We have put out information on our website. We've done it in our newsletters for our patron newsletters, but for the broader media promotion of it, we're scaling back until we see the numbers start to decrease a little bit again. Our services and programs. Oh, I should also mention we did have 3 staff members test positive in December. So that is our our largest amount of staff testing positive in 1 month. I have mentioned staffing. You'll see when it comes down into safety for the buildings, that is our one concern, is staffing is a little tight because we are experiencing some individuals testing positive as well as experiencing symptoms. And we are telling people if you have the symptoms, stay home. So we've gotten very close to having to shut down a branch and reallocate staff to make sure all the other staffs are beefed up, but we haven't had to do so yet. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. We have another staffing plan in place of utilizing some more of our temps and even offering some overtime in order. Our first priority right now is making sure we do have our buildings open. So aside from keeping staff safe, I do want to mention that is our number one priority, but our secondary one is to keep the buildings open. Our virtual services and programs continue to be successful. And this year we were actually able to offer our holiday harp concert in a virtual format. So that's a long-standing program that we've offered every year around the holidays, and it was able to be continued virtually this year and is still available online if you check out our YouTube page. As I said, we got through the holidays with no external impact on services. We were a little bit tight and we continue to be tight. The decision to close on Sunday was, because it didn't include it in this because it's December. This is the December roundup, and this happened technically in January. The decision to close on this past Sunday was a combination of staffing and the weather. Just with the two of them, staffing would have been extremely tight. We would have been a complete skeletal staff if we opened. And then with the ice on top of it, that's why we made the decision to close. As Donna mentioned, under my administration notes, we attended the New York State Senators Ryan and Hinchey and Assemblywoman John Pear's listening tour. It was a fabulous meeting. They're really passionate about libraries, and it was really good to hear the legislative support for libraries. And they actually they have some insights on, they recognize the fact that even though they pump money into other civil services at times to help, like the Department of Labor, to help with unemployment, they're noticing that the people are coming to the library instead. So they said they might start looking into ways to modify how funding gets distributed, or at least getting the individuals to cooperate with the library, since that's where the people are going. So even if we don't have monetary support, we might have actual personnel support to bring in extra help to help with those services. So I thought that was nice. I also attended, along with House Branch Manager Torloni, the book launch event for Alice's Green New Book, We Who Believe in Freedom. It's a wonderful book showcasing her aspects into social justice in the region and throughout her career. And she used the event to highlight a lot of the social justice programs that are happening throughout the city of Albany and the region. So we were able to showcase our branching out program as part of that. And it was a wonderful event. I'm very happy that we could attend something like that. Our statistics, we did plateau a little bit. So we had been seeing a pretty gradual, nice, steady increase, but we've plateaued on that increase for all of our metrics. However, across the board, we are up from last year, which is pretty good. We'd like to see an overall increase for the year. I will note our Wi-Fi usage at both Arbor Hill and our Albany parks are higher than their pre-pandemic levels. So I thought that was to be commended. And our book circulation at Arbor Hill, West Hill, and our Bach branches, with Delaware being very close, are actually also higher than our December pre-pandemic numbers. So those are, we're seeing the bounce back. It's not, we're not 100%. Obviously, some of our other branches are still getting hit pretty hard, but I was very excited to see that we did exceed pre-pandemic stats, at least across the month. And then I do want to note that with the increase of our patron usage of the library, you notice we do have an uptick in incidents, unfortunately. Thankfully, for the most part, it's just people upset with the current state of the pandemic and the world at the moment and getting a little angry and yelling at staff. So we haven't had any of the violence that we had seen in previous months with them getting to the point of threatening staff. It's just they're yelling at staff, and that's where our predominant of incidents have happened in December. We're hoping to see that decrease. But I can take any questions in regards to the director's report.
Melanie?
Yes.
I commend you and the staff working under challenging conditions. You're doing a terrific job, and really appreciate the services you're providing to the community. This is just like the statistical geek in me. Mm-hmm. You showed the use of Wi-Fi and you showed the use of desktops.
Yes.
Are all of the, I don't know how to say this, there's a capacity. There's only so many hours those desktops can be used. Mm-hmm. Is that why the statistics look that way? Because they're being used and they can only be used by one person at a time, the hours the library is open?
For the desktop usage?
Mm-hmm.
So the desktop usage, our numbers are decreased significantly because we, at the beginning of the pandemic, we took the initiative to remove all of our public computers because a lot of them were end of life anyway. And our initial intention was that we were going into a Chromebook environment and we were going to push and have Chromebooks exclusively. And we found, even though we gradually rolled them out as we gradually reopened, we got a lot of pushback from individuals who liked the desktops. So right now we're slowly reintroducing the desktops, and we're doing so in alignment with our IT technology plan. Because as I said, a lot of the ones we had were end of life and aren't restarting or aren't cooperating well with us. So where a lot of our locations, I believe, like for example, in our adult area at Washington Avenue, I think we had 12 or 16 desktop units at that location, and currently we only have 4 or 5. Okay. So we have reduced the amount of desktops, and we're hoping to slowly ramp that back up and get to normal numbers by the end of the fiscal year. And so we should see, because there are now usage and waiting lines for the desktops where we weren't seeing that previously, but now we are.
And one last thing, if it's easy to do, I'd be interested in how much the Wi-Fi is being used after the branches are closed.
I could probably find that out.
It's winter time, so I don't expect it to be very high, yeah. But it would just be interesting to do it every couple of months, every few months, just to see. Thank you.
No problem. And we did, as part of that, just to kind of touch on that, this past year, we've also took the initiative to, because we found out while our Wi-Fi access points did extend outside of the building, it wasn't as far as we thought it had been. And so it wasn't actually reaching significantly into the parking lots as we thought previously. We were testing the signal strength during this time. And so we've been also slowly adding additional external Wi-Fi units to specifically go outside of our branches and cover the outside areas of our branches, specifically for that reason. So not all the branches are done yet. We're rolling that out as we install our new cameras, as we're replacing our old cameras system, because then we can save money on wiring. So as the wirings are getting run for the cameras, they're getting run for the external Wi-Fi's as well. So I think 4 out of the 7 branches are currently up and running that way.
Melanie,
Yep.
hi.
Hello.
I know we got a helpful email from our facilities director a couple of weeks ago about North Albany, but I was wondering if you had any updates or like status reports on progress there.
Sure. We actually had a meeting this afternoon and the punch list has been finished. So we're all excited about that. However, the entrance into the building was decided to be redesigned. So if you remember, the original plans were that people would walk into the vestibule area of North Albany and then make the right-hand turn, and we were going to get a new storefront off of the vestibule. About 2 months ago, they decided that they were no longer going to do it that way, that we are going to have a new storefront that's directly, so where our windows are now at North Albany, that will be turned into a doorway. So that aspect of the construction has been put on pause because they're waiting for the new storefront to arrive from overseas, and like everything else, there are supply chain issues. So there's no ETA on when that is arriving. We had a discussion today. Furniture also has not been ordered yet. We just got the fabric samples and finished samples. And they did tell us that because of supply chain issues, there's about a 12-week lead time on that. So we're hoping to get the order in by the end of the week with all of our selections. And there's a potential for a 12-week turnaround for those. So that could delay things, but we're hoping by next week to start moving into the building. So we can actually get the server back up and running, to start getting the shelving in place, and to start moving the books back over. Because of the storefront, we're waiting to see what the ETA on what the final ETA on the furniture will be. And if it's significantly sooner than when the storefront will be added, we're going to have a conversation with a potential conversation with the school district to see if they would be willing to let us use, because it's the former entrance is still our entrance. So if they would allow us to open temporarily with that entrance, and then we would, they told us it would probably take about a week to install the new storefront and to do the finish work on that. So then we could potentially be open as a soft opening and then close for the week to get that new storefront in and then reopen, just so we could have a soft opening earlier. But a lot of that's up in the air right now until we get timing on when things are arriving.
Okay, thank you very much.
But it looks really nice. I got to go over and see the new carpet, new paint on the walls. It's a brighter color, and the new bathrooms, obviously new bathrooms always look fabulous. So and it's nice to have them inside the library too. So it's looking great.
Does anyone have any other questions for Melanie on her executive director report or statistics before she goes? Do you have any informational items? Okay.
No, not at this moment.
So does anybody have any further questions for Melanie?
No questions, just a comment that I appreciated the concise nature of the report, and then the fill-ins that you provided personally. This is really a pleasure to read.
I have a really good staff that helps me with it. And I do want to allude to that when Sarah mentioned, you know, it's really, I have a fabulous team all around. There's a lot of dedicated individuals working for Albany Public Library who are very concerned about making sure that we are open. And I've had individuals who don't normally work desk shifts, and other people pulling, you know, trying to help out as much as possible because they know we want to keep things open. So I want to commend my staff because they have just been absolutely amazing through all of this. As Sarah said, it has not been easy. There's been a lot of late night calls, early morning calls, and frantic weekends trying to make sure that with a lot of people involved to make sure that we can open, and they're doing a fabulous job. And I just want to publicly thank them all for that.
You're here.
Just a thought. The minutes are usually brief or succinct, but I would like it if we can mention that we appreciate the work the whole staff has been doing to provide services and not have that edited out.
I will make sure they get included for next month. And we always follow up the board meeting. We have a supervisors meeting the Wednesday following the board meeting, and then we've been doing all staff meetings the following Monday to bring everybody up to speed, and I will make sure they receive your thanks.
So just following the agenda, the next item is typically informational items memo, which we don't have this month. We also do not have any unfinished business at this time. So we're going down to new business, where we have 2 items. The first is the executive director search consultant, which I believe we need to go into an executive session for, but I see Sarah's hand. Sarah?
I'm going to recuse myself from this discussion, if that's okay. And I'm looking at that there's really nothing else to be voted on. So if it's okay, I'm going to excuse myself from the rest of the meeting.
All right. Actually, one question. Do you plan on having a policy and governance committee meeting?
Yes, the last day of January.
Okay, thank you.
Happy New Year, everyone. Bye-bye.
You too, Sarah.
Bye.
So if somebody would like to make a motion to go into executive session, we can discuss. Donna?
Yes, I move that we go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the motion to appoint a recruiting firm for the executive director search.
Thank you. Arlene, would you like to second?
Yes, I second.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion to go into executive session for the purpose of making an appointment? Seeing none, we can go to board docs to vote. Melanie, were you saying something? You're on mute.
Thank you. I just realized that. If you guys don't mind, I will excuse Adam and Sean as well, because I don't think they will be needed, and there's no reason to keep them for the evening.
Yes.
Arlene, could you please state your vote?
Yes.
Thank you. And Sarah Shearer?
Sorry, I just voted.
Thank you.
Now the motion carries. Rebecca, let me know when you're ready for who made the motion.
Okay, who made the motion?
Donna made the motion and Brenda seconded at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. And it was unanimous.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So I believe we have an appointment before us from the Ad Hoc Executive Director Search Committee, appointing, I'm sorry, Keister?
Yes.
Thank you. Shifting screens here. As our consultant for our Executive Director Search. We need a second from somebody who's not on the committee.
I'll second.
Brenda, thank you. Any further discussion on this appointment? Seeing none, we can vote.
I'm sorry, who was the first?
The committee.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right, that's right. Yep. Arlene, please state your vote.
Yes.
Thank you.
And the motion carries. And again, just thank you to the Executive Director, the Ad Hoc Executive Director Search Committee. I know they put a lot of work into this process, and I appreciate the diligence you did on this. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I also like to take the opportunity to thank John Ray as well as Donna. Donna sent out all the correspondence, so I thank you for all your diligence and hard work as well. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you too.
You had a good team.
The next order under new business, next item under new business is the quarterly board evaluation results. If those could get pulled up on screen. So thank you to trustees for taking the time to participate in our quarterly survey. Lets us know how we're doing in our meetings. There are a few comments here. One person wasn't sure if the absent board members were excused. So that's a good reminder to me to mention in the beginning of the meeting when trustees aren't here that if we heard from them and if they are excused. Could you scroll to the right? I just can't see. Thank you. The meeting began and ended on time. Someone said we're getting better, but discussion is necessary. Most board members participated and no one dominated the discussion. Someone said, I think there's ample opportunity for all to speak. Not everyone wishes to speak, and that's fine. We did not spend the majority of time listening to reports. And someone said, fine line between reading the report and highlighting or updating, and just thinking for a productive meeting. So thank you again, everyone, for filling out these.
Sorry.
It's okay. So thank you to everyone for participating and filling out the quarterly evaluation. It just lets us know things to tweak in the meetings going forward. So thank you. Melanie, do we have a POP update?
No updates at this point.
Okay. And is there public comment?
We have not received any further public comment.
Okay. And before we adjourn, I did have a couple housekeeping items I wanted to mention. The next board meeting location, Bob, I actually, I'm following that bill in the legislature right now. It's Assembly Bill 8591, extending the ability for public meetings to be remote. The bill has passed the Assembly. It's on the active list in the Senate, but from what I'm hearing, it is supposed to be getting passed soon, and hopefully the governor signs it before January 15th. So we may have the ability extended to go remote again. So if we would like to stay remote, that's something we can discuss when, if and when the law comes into effect. But as of today, to my knowledge, we're looking at this expiring on January 15th. Is that your same interpretation, Bob, or understanding?
So on the 30th, they sent an open meetings bill up to the governor, Assembly 6481.
Okay.
The 10 days is expired now, though. I don't know what happened with it. And what that was is it was a bill that basically extended the ability to continue to do remote meetings during the state of emergency. Let me just do a quick search and see what's going on with it.
Yeah, because I had 8591 got taken up yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know why they would do another one if they had this one going. But I also didn't get an alert from our legislative group that she signed it or vetoed it, so that's weird.
Yeah, that's okay. We can hash
I'll
this
get
out
you an
over.
update on it.
Yeah.
The point is this one was sent to her last week, and we were waiting to see what she was going to do.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to update the board that that's a moving target. We're still waiting for an update, but we're hoping to have the opportunity for next month to stay remote if possible. The board retreat, it was almost unanimous among trustees that Saturday, January 29th worked as a date. We just heard back from the consultant yesterday and today that it's possible for them as well. So I will be sending out an email following up on that with more details, but I just wanted to let trustees know that Saturday, January 29th in the morning, looks like we can have a 4-hour remote board retreat. And then I just wanted to go through the committees that will be meeting in the next month, because I know we had a light meeting tonight, but I do feel like we have a lot of things moving in the background. So I'm just looking at, oops. Looking at my list. So Audit and Finance Committee, do you plan on having a meeting?
Not to my knowledge, no. I think we're going to be good for a little bit now that we have the, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I haven't talked to Adam or Sean about whether we'll have a meeting, but budget season is coming up.
Yeah, because I know we have that
yeah.
special budget meeting at the end of February.
Right. So
Okay.
yeah, it's actually, although we haven't set a date or anything, it might be more likely than not that we do meet before.
Okay. Executive committee, we are not planning to meet in the next month. Facilities Committee, do you need to meet in the next month?
Yes, we'll probably just to shore up with Adam, file out just to, because we have other projects going on as well, Bach. So yes, we'll probably meet within the next month.
Okay, thank you. Nominating Committee, do you plan on meeting again in the next month?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Personnel Committee, Jenna is not on tonight, but we were in the process of trying to reschedule that meeting with Civil Service. So we're probably going to be working on that. Policy and Governance, before Sarah Dallas got off, she said their meeting is already scheduled for the end of this month. And then our ad hoc committees, Ad hoc Executive Director Search Committee, I believe you're also planning to meet.
Yes.
And Ad hoc Strategic Plan Committee, I actually just had a meeting with Tangible Development. It was a little bit of a delay with the holidays in there, just getting in touch. I just met with them yesterday, actually. I'm waiting for information, an email from them that they'll be sending in the next week that I will forward to my fellow committee members. And then we will also be scheduling a meeting in this next upcoming month. That is all that I had for tonight. Did anybody have any other items to mention before we take a motion to adjourn? All right, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Donna. And I saw Brigitte second.
Yes.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Or do you want us in board docs? Sorry.
Arlene, please state your vote.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
And the motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
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 Night.